There it is. Whoop. There it is. Say it loud. Whoo! I'm black and I'm proud. Come on, y'all. Say it loud. Black and I'm proud. That was my James Brown move. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Happy Black History Month. We have about 8 more days to follow the instructions of Mr. Carter G. Woodson, who says, celebrate, 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 celebrate. It is that time of the day. I know what people are saying. I'm Black 365. I'm Black 24/7. I hear y'all out there. What's happening? What's happening? Welcome to the best podcast where you come and get the truth about Afro hair, black hair, whatever you want to call it. This podcast is called The Dumbest Whoop That People Say About Black Hair. It's me, your homegirl Ladosha Wright, aka Key Lolo. And then here is my PNC right over here, looking fly than a kite, baby. Looking real fly with the sunglasses on, Cheryl Morrow. Okay, so let's give it up in our Bert and Ernie voice. Yay!
What's up, y'all?
They don't know nothing about Bert and Ernie. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know nothing about that. Y'all know. But y'all know about them fly glasses. Hey, sure. I think anybody want to get some of them glasses? Those spectacles are just like off the Richter scale. Like, I'm loving them.
Thank you.
They do. They look so. Look so.
Anything to see.
Anything to see? Well, I'm gonna get me some. I got some right here. Hold on. See, y'all just don't understand how we do these things. But these are the 99-cent readers. But I'm gonna. There's a place in Baltimore called Patapsco. Anybody out here like to do flea market shopping? Come on, drop where you're from in the chat. Let us know if you go to the swap meet, if you go into the flea markets. Where do you shop at? But this place is in Baltimore and it's called Patapsco's, and it's like a true flea market. And they have this glass place, and I'm gonna go get me some cool readers. So when we come back, I can be fly. Ooh, these making me drunk.
I need to see.
Ooh, glasses. I didn't know glasses can get you high. Let me put them back on for a minute. Hold on. Get a little hit right here. I didn't know glasses could do that to you. Woo-hoo. How you? Anybody out there wear glasses? What y'all know about that? Okay, so my glasses are not as fly as Cheryl, but we have a wonderful, wonderful podcast that's going down today, and it's all about aging hair. You know, how do we address this? Our hair is getting old. There's so much stuff, out here about what to do to your hair as you're getting older and so on and so forth. So we are going to be diving right into the topic of aging hair. But before we do that, because we just got to let some folks come on through. Don't forget to drop in the chat, what city you representing, baby. But while you guys are doing that, we got to get a little current events, So Cheryl and I was talking yesterday, and she was sharing with me, which I didn't know, okay, that African American women are we the most educated? And is that we're the most educated here in the United States? But there's always a but, right? Not doing the butt. Come on, y'all. Get y'all EU on. Doing the butt. Ow. Come on, y'all. Sexy. All right. Okay. They weren't ready for that. Yeah. So there's always a but. They're saying that we're very educated. However, we're not getting our fair share of equity. So what are your thoughts about us being the most educated here in the United States? This is pretty. This is some tea sipping moments.
To me, it goes for, I think there's 2 things that we don't need more of: jobs and education.
We don't need. We
don't need any more. We don't need any more. So what's the natural next step? Is I don't even know if it's entrepreneurship. I think that it's completely an inner community conversation. What do we do with all of this education that we have? Do we make it work for ourselves? What do we do? Do we peel away from the general consensus of what the American dream is? Do we redefine what the American dream is? So,
Hmm. So you said that's enough on them books. So put some of them books down. I'm you know what? This is my PNC, by the way. If you guys are new to our platform, PNC, it means my partner in cosmetology. So my partner in cosmetology says she didn't have enough education. We need to do something that's enough. I don't agree. I'm all for some education. Come on and get some more knowledge. You know what I'm saying? We need to get some more knowledge.
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, no, I didn't mean cosmetology. That I did not mean.
Okay. Look, remember last week we talked about Finsta, Finna and Finsta. So depending on where you're from, Fitna, Finsta, and Finna. So if you know anything about that, y'all know what that. If not, we're just gonna tell you it means getting ready to. Because I was fitting to say, okay. Oh, what's up? My niece is in the chat. What's up? Her name is Kristen Smith, but I call her my Coos Nelly. What's up? Coos is in the chat. She got the heart to say she's representing Cleveland. So here's the thing before we hop into the topic, and again, the topic is going to be about aging hair. What does that mean? How do we handle what's happening to our hair as we get older? Because these are things that they just don't get talked about. But what is being talked about now here in the state of Ohio is that there's been another bill introduced. This is House Bill 58. And House Bill 58 says no education and they do mean no regulation for natural hairstylists. Keep the government out our business. Because they ain't never did nothing for our locks. They ain't never did nothing for our cornrow back. They ain't did nothing. It's just an impediment. We can't get any jobs. And so they're very anti-education. Now, by the way, don't forget Cheryl and I, we have this cool documentary. And it's called The Narrative. And so we talk about that in the documentary. We do. So there are many schools of thought. So it's not just, Cheryl and I, we don't have we're not the authority, but, we got something to say, what I'm saying? We got something to say. So Cheryl, I'm going to let you go first before I give my 2 cents about, the bigger thing is regulation, which of course that segues, into, no education, because how do you get them educated if they're not, okay, so
I want to hear your thoughts because you're there, and I'm not, and so I would like to know from your perspective first, if you may.
Now, before I give my answer, I do see someone that just came through the chat from the Nasty Natty. What's up, AJ? So you know what I'm about to say, AJ. I know you done heard it 1,000 times, so I'm just going to get it off my chest. Up in the Bronx where the people was fresh, it was one DJ, and he passed his test. He was down by law. He was ready to play. That's right, y'all. His name is AJ. Hit it, AJ. AJ. What's up, AJ? Welcome to the dopest podcast. We're talking about the dumbest ish that people say about black hair. Notice that code switch, Cheryl. You see, I went from. We got a code switch up in here in these United States. Okay, let's get back. I digress, AJ. Welcome. If that says OJ, I'm in a whole lot of trouble. But anywho, welcome to our podcast. So I'm just going to give my feedback about the no regulation for the braiders called natural hairstylists. And I guess you know how they say, don't answer a question with a question, but I can't help it. I can't. I just want to know, when did we not do these things with our license when they wasn't teaching about it? we always braided hair. Locks are not new to the cosmetology industry. They don't teach a lot of stuff in cosmetology school. They can't. It's called continuing education. I know y'all like that. Ain't it's all about white people? It's all about. It could be. They need to do something about that. We're not going to deny, but we're not about to sit up here and pretend that they teach you everything you need to know in cosmetology school. So that's one. And then number two, I'm just concerned about like the legacy. That how do you build a legacy out of something that people are just kind of like all over the place, and then they run back to the hair salons and say, "Fix it, Jesus." So that's my 2 cents. So what do you think about my 2 cents, Cheryl? What do you think about?
I agree. I mean, I just don't. I think what in the last 23 years since 1999, I don't know what I don't know if we thought out our intent as a community, as an industry. I don't know if there was enough cultural intelligence, or I don't know where the ball fell off that these things are not discussed with the professional body. And I know that in a community, they were trying to peel themselves away from the cosmetology community. So they don't have the support or the continuation of the legacy. They don't have the information. And I don't know if they even want it. But now that they need legislative and statute help and statutory assistance, there we go again. I think the disconnection,
Yeah,
actually is a problem.
yeah. I
You're muting yourself.
Right. On the topic of aging hair, I do think that in the long run, that is going to backfire because we see what's happening with the chemical relaxer. We know what's going to happen in the future. They're going to be saying there's an epidemic of black women with no edges and hair loss, and the natural hair people, they did this, and we're going to be like, "Boo, we try to tell you, education is key." So I'm waiting to see how it's going to pan out. Education is very safe, for the community in so many ways. We see AJ is already saying, in the chat, she or he asked, have you all seen the series where a YouTuber claimed that Miel Organics ruined her hair, and of course that would be natural hair. It's just we saw it with Diva Curl. We saw it with what's that stuff that Rio? Remember that Rio perm that you could eat? Anybody remember Rio? They said this perm was so you could eat this stuff.
And it's so fascinating because you didn't mention the Boston University study that, of course, is in the opposite of the NIH's study. But the article that you did send me that was in Forbes mentioned a component, and they finally put a name to it, and it's called formaldehyde. And all three, Rio, Copa, and Brazilian hair straightening, and most thermal reconditioning, that of 2001, 2002, 2003. So we've had 3 to 4 movements to come into black hair care that they weren't black, and those are the ones that have had a formaldehyde in them. Black people do not formulate relaxers or at home based relaxers. We don't formulate. So in of course, again, black hair care and black cosmetologists, their business, their industry, our industry has to take the brunt for formaldehyde, and it's not even a part of black hair care. But again, there's no representation. So you have the lawmakers, the professors, and you have the natural hair care people, they're all in these separate subgroups, and they're talking about things that unfortunately are not germane or even hooked to the lineage of what Black hair care cosmetology has ever been. They don't know what they're talking about. And so it's really disheartening to have studies over here, studies over there, and they're so disconnected to the whole core of what cosmetology has been about in the last 60 years. So it is pretty frustrating. And no, I'm not aware of the Miel, but here again, it's Procter's and Gamble's problem now. So see what they do with it.
Yeah, thank you, AJ. I'm just going to read her statement. This unregulated stuff is already showing bad results. In places where it's legal, when some of these stylists use these stupid techniques, you're right, that damage clients' hair, and those clients, they have no recourse. You're absolutely right. And this is a concern. And that's what the cosmetology license is all about. It's really about taking what we already know, and per your statement, AJ, we have to do these things responsibly, and with public safety and so much more. But the topic today is about aging hair, and hopefully you guys are going to just get a really good glimpse into the world of cosmetology, and why this education is so important, talking about aging hair. So we're going to define aging hair as hair that's not necessarily chronologically old. Okay, so we're not talking about people that are, 50. I'm 55. I'm at that age. I've been getting my AARP. You know what I'm saying? It's all right. What's up, AARP? How you doing out here? Yeah. So aging hair has two definitions in the world of cosmetology. So one, it does not necessarily mean how old you are, but it also means aging from mechanical stressors and things like that on the hair. Okay, so we're going to make that abundantly clear. So Cheryl, I'm just going to get your brain picking. Cheryl's like, here we go with Kilo Low again. All right, so here we go. You love me, Cheryl. Don't you love your partner? She's like, come on, Dodo. So here we go, guys. So let's hop right into the topic of aging hair. So the biggest, and I do mean the biggest concern that people have about aging hair is actually losing it. Why, when we get that age, do we lose it? And can you talk about at what age, realistically, do women and men really begin to see those signs of that chronological aging on the hair? And what happens? Why it used to be so thick, and now it looks thick, but it's not like it used to be when I was 18 and 12 years old. So walk us through what's happening. Why are we shriveling up, AJ? AJ, help us out. Come on.
Well, I'm going to start by saying, I actually, I did know the topic this morning, right? And I genuinely, and I mean this genuinely, I don't understand aging hair as a scientific thing. I'll understand it because the consumer has that. Why is my hair thinning as as I age? And I love your disclaimer about, because we do mean as we get old. So it's kind of, but I do know what you were saying, that in your disclaimer. But let me just correct it, because one of the wonderful things that we're going to talk about at our summit, and Ladosha will talk about that as well, is that we're going to kind of fix the language so we can get on the same page about what we're actually talking about. Because sometimes, in the defense of cosmetologists, we don't want to say we don't know what you're talking about, but we'll just act like we do. And that's a whole nother thing that we shouldn't do as cosmetologists and professionals. But anyway, but I will say if we can understand that two things are going on as I understand it, and I want to make sure that I'm clear. Aging hair is not the same as getting old, and losing it, or it thinning, or it graying, and things of that nature, because that is an aging scalp, not aging hair, because it's systemic. So, but aging hair is taking care of length, not. So I want to make sure that we're talking about the same thing, because you guys know I'm a stickler for context, and educators should, because I want to make sure that we mean the same thing. And because scalp science is not taught, it's not extensive enough, shall I say, in the cosmetology. We don't pay attention to, I teach it because I teach afrometamorphosis. And afrometamorphosis Afrometamorphosis is to the science of teaching why do Afro children's hair change about 3 to 4 times before they reach puberty. Okay, so if the scalp matures and the hair starts thin and vellus and soft and feathery at birth, then of course it's going to go through a second metamorphosis, if you will, after the estrogen and the testosterone begins to change. Okay. And so that is your second phase, maybe 35-ish, 38-ish, especially for women. And then and then hereditary is a factor, of course, in male pattern baldness. That's a whole nother, but it's all a aging scalp because of cellular signaling in the endocrine system. So I just wanted to make sure I could at least give that as a foundation.
Now you already know I just couldn't wait to to push my little mouse button up here like ooh. Now you guys see why that cosmetology, that introduction is very important, because if you're not a cosmetologist, you're not going to understand what the ham sandwich my PNC is talking about, and the natural hair community who would not have any licensure or that standard form of education to ensure that everybody is getting it will miss out on this. The summit is called the 2023 Midwest Afro Hair Science Educational Summit, and we are calling this Textures Unite. It's for barbers, it's for cosmetologists, it's for the licensed professional community. I don't know if we'll live stream it, Michelle. We're still trying to, work all of this good stuff out. But again, to your point about the scalp and the aging hair, it's those types of things that we want to use this podcast to bring you guys like up to snuff, because when we're talking about aging hair, people don't understand the difference of what she just said, what I'm saying. And so this is why education is very key. So take us through the next phase of what's going on when you get to that stage. I think you said, was it 35ish, when that hair takes its second turn, and bring us into what are we seeing as far as like, because the first thing that people start to see when their hair is going through those changes is that it's not as plush and lush. So that's the pivotal point. So help us through that part, because I'm going to talk about some solutions that we hear out here that's supposed to, like I said in the clip, do we grow old gracefully, Or do we fight that step that you're about to explain? Do we fight that every step of the way with science and technology? So take it away at that 35-ish. And the hormones and everything is, and the scalp, So yeah, everybody get their notebook. Afro metamorph. Hold on, Sandra. I got you. Wait a minute, Boo Boo Kitty. Hold on, Sandra. Bam. That's our home girl. What's up? We got her and Michelle, and they be rocking it with us. So rock it out, and I'm gonna mute this mic. You guys, Karis one. He know what he say. Class is in session, so you can stop guessing. Get your ink pens ready, and she's gonna break it down for us. Take it away, PNC.
So you have your first precursor, which is puberty, and that is the zenith of when the scalp has reached the zenith of maturity. You have all your fat, all the hair follicles are developed, and it begins to grow a adult mature hair, and that's usually what we say that's going to be your texture, right? But it's indicative of what your scalp has matured, and it's now growing your adult hair, which is going to be the texture of your hair until your second precursor or postcursor, and when you are in your hormonal decline or out of your prime. Okay. But as far as cosmetologists, we should prepare for that. And as soon as we start getting either some increased drying, which they say, oh, my hair is not as moisturized as it is, but that is because the scalp is changing. Either there's less fat loss, and usually it is connected to estrogen, which is your beauty. They call it in certain medical communities, they call it the feminizing hormone, or they call it the beauty hormone. It creates the vibrancy of your skin and your eyes and your hair and things of that nature. And when those things become, and let me just prove my point, because you hear about this, unfortunately, you hear about this through acne when they talk about the hormones being imbalanced. So just to use that as a reference, okay? And so, but it also does play havoc on your scalp. And you guys have heard me say many times, I work with gynecologists, preferably endocrinologists, if they're available, other than a dermatologist, only because those issues that we're talking about with aging issues, when the pigment cell becomes a little less, scarce, and then the pigment begins, the hair turns lighter, and then ultimately salt and pepper, and then in certain clients, they'll go from salt and pepper, they'll go straight white. Okay, just depends on your hereditary. Go ahead.
Okay, so I hear you talking, but I know some people in the chat, and I know what y'all thinking, because I got that. Y'all know what I got. Come on now. I got my little African ring on. So you guys ready? So Cheryl, it sounds real fancy, but what about these wives' tales of, when I had a man on my head, things of that nature. Juju. You got bad juju on the hair because the 9 ether, So we have a lot of myths and, we're going to talk about that a little bit because these things are very real. And this is how we culturally, we've explained what's happening. I'm just going to give one. If you want, drop in the chat some cultural things. Stop laughing, Michonne, that I've heard about why my hair is thinning. You want to hear what I've heard, why my hair is thinning? Because I shaved my sideburns. So my aunt told me the reason why my hair began to thin is because I shaved off my sideburns and that caused my hair. So what I'm saying is we hear. I'm telling you, Michonne, these what do you call those things?
Wives' tales.
Wives' tales, yes. So let's talk about, just a little bit, so you guys can see that there's a little bit more. These superstitions are not going to work, but they're
Absolutely.
very real. They're very real. So so go. I just had to get that out there, Michelle. Get that out.
I've heard them all. But my peoples is from Alabama and and the Dust Bowl of California, so they've got them full, and you know, let me just say this, you know, I don't know how we get away with that one, because of course, then we get into a man can do it. I know a man shaves his head, but he grows back. I know, but there's something about a woman's scalp. If you shave it off, then so guys, listen. What we call a aging hair is it's planted inside a scalp, okay? And we have to remember that most black babies, some of them, not all of them, are born with what? They are born with a band of no hair. They may have hair on the top, right? No hair on the side, or they'll have hair on the side, and then it'll be a little scarce by, where the soft spot is. We got a little superstition about the soft spot here in the middle. We're supposed to shape the head, and we got to get the hair follicles going. You know what I mean? Then we got to massage, and don't let the baby lay on the bed. She don't have no hair because he's been laying on it. You know what I mean? And so we've got all that going on, black people. But you have to remember that cell production is what make hair grow. Not what we do on the outside, but what's going on in the inside. So the hair of the baby usually what? Usually comes in when it's gonna come in, and then all of a sudden they 1 years old, and y'all complain, here, Ladosha, here, you got too much damn hair, blah, 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 and blah, 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 and then boom. And then after that, we're about 30. And I want you guys to know, especially as black women have some of the most interesting hormonal levels, because black women have a lot of testosterone than most other races of women. So we have to be very careful about what it is that, we are exposing our stress levels and cortisol and adrenals and all that wonderful, and thyroid and all these blood pressure issues. So, and it's because estrogen begins to drop off around 30. And estrogen is that feminizing beauty hormone. So, but for men, it is the opposite. Their testosterone drops off and their estrogen goes up, and that is where we get the gut and all those other issues. But it gets intense, and see, and let me just say this. That's why I want y'all to make sure that you are in this particular scalp class, because we go through the metamorphosis and the stages, y'all, and it's not hard. I know Kilo Low over there say I got to get all fancy, but one of the things that I'm explaining to you, we're gonna talk about growing older, not the hair growing older. That's a whole nother length. That's long hair. That belongs on a whole nother conversation. We can talk about that today too. But when you are dealing with aging hair, it is an aging scalp. So I just want to make sure that we talk about that. And it is the hormonal levels dealing with the increase in fat and the decrease in fat. Got it?
Okay, we got it. But Christian says the real issue is when you got too many people on one head, Cheryl. That's why the hair loss is happening. All right. So I know you guys probably have heard some of those types of wise tales, and this is why we are doing these podcasts, because people still people still hold on to this stuff, and we're probably going to have to do a whole another podcast about some of these wives tales and how they're and they are per AJ's statement is that they start to move and creep into the professional world, and people start to say things like This is no, I'm not even making this up. I had a colleague who came to, get some support professionally, and the guest hair, was just growing, and so she was not of the understanding that she accidentally cut the girl's hair off too much, and her rationale. This was post she realized this, but her understanding was that all of the fibers she cut it because she wanted all of the hair to be even. And so I had to explain to her to go back to cosmetology school, crack your book open, because we are taught that each individual strand of hair has its own life cycle. We're not dogs. All of the fibers don't grow at the same rate. And so she just kind of had like, oh yeah, I forgot that part. And so to AJ's point, we do see a lot of the stuff that creeps up from wives' tales and things like that, like cutting all the hair even. We hear that a lot. No such thing as cutting all the hair even. It ain't gonna happen, guys. So now we're getting somewhere. So now let's flip the script. All right, let's flip the script and let's move over to long hair being old hair. Now this is gonna get y'all. I know, Miss Howard. This is gonna be good. All right. So we'll talk about the Afro Hair Science Summit that's coming up. So hold on to your seats, and Cheryl's gonna take it away with aging hair as it relates to long hair that's old hair. We do talk about that in the hair salon. So let's talk about that long. Everybody wants
I'm
that.
interested on how you talk about it because I know you got Key Lolo got some stories.
So here we go, guys. Long hair is old hair. So let's go into that so people can understand.
I got a wise tale for that. Okay, so I know you've heard this one. Okay, you've heard that trimming the ends of old hair will activate the growth of the follicle. Well, and let me just say this, and you guys have heard me say again, because I will repeat myself, in that long hair is old hair. Okay? And anytime...
I'm sorry, can you repeat that one more time? The chat is on fire. I knew this topic was going. Say it again.
Long hair is old hair. So now let me take you guys back. Okay, so we got little Pookie, right? Pookie's just born. Pookie is now 5. And you guys have not cut Pookie's hair. And you guys will struggle. And I mean struggle. Pookie don't want it combed. Pookie see that comb. He and she start crying. And they running from room to room. And then you guys will notice that old hair doesn't stay moisturized. Okay? Because the ends of little Boobie's hair has been on her body or his body ever since it was at the base of the scalp. So however long years it took for it to get here. Okay? So this hair here is new. Just came out, nice and oily, nice and moisturized. It's it's flexuous. It's, and as soon as you put the comb in, it goes right, and then the comb stop. Why does the comb stop?
Okay. I used to pray to my mother, why can't we just cut it off right? Who else used to do that? Come on, y'all. Mom, just cut it off right there.
So when it stops, that is when you're engaging into the old portion. And though it's length, people, I know y'all love to grow it. However, you've heard me say that hair is a fibrous protein. It's a fibrous protein, which means it will, you could have little cracks and little crevices, and it will have ridges, and then it'll fray, and then you need to trim it, right? Just like cotton, just like linen, just like any other fabric, right? No one wants the fabric that's on the spool at the fabric shop. We want you to peel it off and get them a new one, right? Because at the ends, no one wants the older part of the fabric. Now, but why does the older hair also looks lighter than the hair that is new? Okay, because it's weathered, it's been exposed to water, 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 movement, rubber bands, plaits, combs, brushes, and fibers age. Okay, so we don't have to talk about the aging as the issue. We have to talk about conservation and preservation at that point, and that is what cosmetologists get paid for. Now, but long length is indicative. You cannot have length without having aging hair. So you can't, aging is not a problem. You can't get long hair unless it's aged. Does that make sense? And so that's why the ends, the aging portions of the hair strand gets accumulated, but the accumulation also gets weaker because it's further away from the follicle bed. And there is just some practical physics to this. This is not that anything that product can solve. It's indicative of just how long you deciding to keep this hair on your head. And so just to make sure that long hair is a natural effect of aging. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense. And AJ, I have to put your comment up because we do hear this a lot. I'm not really big on haircuts in our world. This is very true. They really are about style, management, things of that nature. But we do respect and understand that there are a lot of people who do not want their ends cut. So to your point, AJ, that cutting from the ends makes no difference in terms of growth. Hair does grow from the scalp, and Cheryl just pointed out that these are all hormonal contributions. There are no pills, no greases, no balms, no salves, no concoctions, no essential oils that is going to be able to affect the hormones. So when someone comes to the salon, they'll say, "Do you specialize in natural hair?" And then I'm like, okay.
That's a very good point.
Yeah. So go ahead. You want to expand on that a little bit? Yeah. Okay.
No, that's a very good point. Did you specialize in natural hair? And if you actually did,
I'm like, if it grows from your scalp, no, I really do say that. If it grows from your scalp, I'm your girl, okay? I can't mess with your wigs, okay? So cosmetologists, this is why we said we don't really get this, but anywho, so what their concern is, and I got your message up, AJ, about this long hair. To Cheryl's point, people believe that if they grow this hair long, that they actually don't have anything to do. So a lot of people are growing long hair because they believe it's less maintenance. They don't want to cut the ends, and somehow they think that their hair has stopped growing. So help us understand, does it stop growing? That's the biggest concern. And then two, why does this old/long hair require more maintenance than your shorter fibers? Because everybody's looking for carefree hair. What's up, JoJo? I see you in the chat. Go ahead.
Maintenance-free long hair. And let me just say this. I think, see, here we go again. We're getting a little mixed up with the fact that long hair, you actually really can't do a lot with it. And if you start flat ironing and doing a lot of things to it, you will begin to see it take the brunt of all of your styling activity. You have to baby it. It's been on your head for a very long time. It's been washed thousands of times. It's been exposed to toilet water. And
But we black. We can't do that. We can't do that, sure. We can't be. Come on now, black people can't do that. Break it
do
down.
what? Do what?
You talk about comb our hair some more, wash it more. Come on, sure. You all smart with your fancy words. Are you telling me that I have longer hair? I have to do more to take care of? That doesn't make any sense because black people can't be doing that. What do you have to say to that?
Well, let me just say this. Let me say this. And I have always had long hair. I have had long hair because I have not a lot to do with styling options. It's just that I don't want to do a lot with it because I'm going to keep it long. And I know if I style it every once in a while, I will have the benefit of it staying long. But if I do too much to it, I will have to increase my maintenance, okay, of it. I'm going to have a soft water installed in the house. I'm going to have, making sure that I have, count the strands in the comb. I got to make sure that, I relax my hair once a year, and I got to do this and I got to, and then I got to put it away. And then, of course, listen, people, here it comes. You ready? Out of that mindset comes protective hairstyle. See, that's when we get that colloquialism. And see, that colloquialism comes out of the fact that when people who have had long hair, they put it up because they know that if they start doing the most with longer hair strands, you have to be attentive to it because it's old. It's been on your body and it's been there, because if you think about 7 to 12 to 15 to 20 inches used to be at your scalp. How many years does it take for it to get down on your breastplate? Since that's your pride and joy. Well, how many years does it take to get there? And how many times it has been, susceptible to all of the combing and the shampoos and the detergents and the conditioners and the water and, the shampooing and the things of that and twisting it up and putting it. So I don't do much. It's not that it's low maintenance and I don't have to do anything. It's just that I have less styling options because I want to preserve the length. So when I do wear it, it can be thick and full and vibrant. But I can tell you right now, if I was doing the most every day and doing what most people do to short hair, I would see it start here and then we'll start breaking and going up and then of course, and then you would want to, because that's the nature of a fiber. It gets worn and it gets weathered and it gets just like a cotton shirt. And then of course you're wondering why now your beautiful cotton shirt, why is it see-through? When I bought it, it was nice and thick and had body to it and it was gorgeous and it had, the collar stood up and then you start wearing it and then the cotton fibers, they begin like this and then the cotton fibers, they get frayed and then eventually the shirt does not respond to any starch or anything of that nature. But it's physics. That's basically what I am saying.
Woo! How y'all like them apples? What we're saying, guys, it's no such thing as carefree hair. Okay, the styling is the issue, and this is why in my salon we teach people how to care for it themselves. I want to say it once, I'm going to say it again. The hair salon is the last place, I repeat, get up in your face because y'all think I'm playing with y'all. I ain't scared. What's up, Michonne? Come on, Michonne, get up in there. Michonne got my back. Sandra, y'all got my back. What's up? Okay, y'all know a coward to tell how the brave motherfucker got killed. Okay, so here we go. I will say it once, I'm going to say it again. The hair salon is not in lieu of what you should be doing to your hair at home. Please do not waste your money coming to these places thinking because you paid for something that you ain't got to do nothing. Okay, it's called a service. It ain't about getting them coins and getting them papers. Danielle is in the chat. There's another cosmetologist in the chat. That's not what we do. So you have to understand your role per Christian's comment in the chat. So what we're teaching you guys here, the two different types of aging, right? Mm-hmm. And that you have to understand that as you grow this hair longer, weight is the enemy of any hairstyle. So your people will have this long hair. I want body. I want it full. Cut it. Y'all always talk about cutting our hair every time we come in here. It's the beauty shop. Mm-hmm. And we got to bring out the beauty. That's going to take some shears. I mean, this jacket would not be this fly if it wasn't cut. If it wasn't cut.
Right. Well, put it this way. Let's make the point. We all have had a cotton that we've put in the dryer. And we should not have. And we keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it. Now, is it the dye's fault in a black shirt that the shirt fade? No, because that is the natural process of a cotton shirt. Now, have we ever had a fleece sweater or something that the more we rubbed up against something and the more we wore it, creates those little balls? So what we do, we take a razor blade or we take some scissors and we start to shave the balls off because those are the fibers that are aging within the garment, because that's what happens when you get natural fiber clothes like wool and cotton and linen. They wear. And so cosmetologists, I do understand that some cosmetologists have issues. You will have furniture that will have natural fibers, and you need to take a razor blade and kind of shave down some of the balls where the people who have sat. You can tell even certain fabrics when people have sat there too many times. It's the weathering of fibers. And that's what happens, and especially when you're moving the hair a lot, and the hair is blowing in the wind. The dynamic of air and movement is very taxing on long hair because it's old. So and let me just say this, there's some styles that you can do to preserve your length. I don't call them protective hairstyling because I only think that Black folks' hair need to be protected from y'all's decisions, but that's just me. But what I'm saying is that if we are in a practical, logical mindset, we will do the appropriate thing to get the desires we want for a long period of time.
Yeah. And that very, very, very good point. Welcome to everybody in the chat. We are so glad to have you guys with us. Again, it's me, your homegirl Ladosha Wright, my PNC, Cheryl Morrow. The topic today is about aging hair, in case you just dropped in and you like, what y'all talking about, Willis? We're talking about the two types of aging hair. And so we're talking about the chronological, the phases of your hair that it goes through as you age. And then we're also talking about long hair. And now we're talking about what happens to it. So here's another thing, Shirley. Please address this, all right? What's up, Kofi? All right, I got your book. I'm about to come through with your book. Hold on, Kofi. Don't leave us. Don't leave us. All right, so here we go. Here's another thing that happens with long hair, right? Or hair in general. I'm going to comb my hair, right? So we have... people who are afraid to comb their hair because they've been shamed that every time you comb your hair, you see how you're getting that catch, right? They're afraid to comb it because they feel that when you comb this long hair, which is old, and like she said, this catching or napping or tangling, it's natural. It's going to happen. But when you see this hair... I don't have much hair, but anywho, when you see the hair comes into the comb, it scares I mean, people actually collect these fibers and they put them in plastic bags and they bring them to the hair salon, and they're terribly afraid of seeing that hair because people with long hair, they, or they want it long and they never comb it. They'll get up in the morning, and by the time they come to the hair salon, I mean, they're looking like this. I mean, and the hair is just like all over the place. And I'm asking, have you combed your hair? And they're like, no, I didn't comb it because I didn't want my hair to come out. Talk about that.
And let me just say that that's a phobia. None. I treat it. Believe me. It's from mild to severe, and that is, of course, an abnormalcy in terms of a fear, and it's a real phobia. Okay. However, one of the things that we can arrest their fears, and I always tell the best way to detect if there is any abnormal evacuation or any abnormal hair loss is that if in the morning, if you when you wake up and you comb your hair, if the same amount matches the same amount at night, okay, then you bring it to the salon and then we can see, and then I can see for myself and I can comb it, okay, because I'm always combing it. And believe me, when I had my practice in New York, I would say 8 times and 9 times out of 10, ma'am, you're not, your hair is not coming out, okay. But not wanting to see falling hair is a real condition, and it's something to be taken serious. However, that is could be the aging process. But again, one of the things why we're doing the summit is for cosmetologists to be able to learn the indications, to sharpen their eye, and to be able to put together certain visuals, some key information inside the consultation that they can put together to be able to consult the client better, just by their own examination areas, and things of that nature. And then you can put things, two and two together. Do they, they have color? Did they have some stressor? You can just, that's in your consultation. But then you can rake your comb over, and I know that's why, of course, then that's why the whole rest of the world's gotten these wide tooth combs. I don't even think they want to even comb it with the wide tooth comb. They don't want to see nothing.
Hey, listen here. This combing hair thing, it's just, you're right. And we do understand. We're not making light of it, but we want you guys to understand that the hair fall is natural. I hate to say this, but it's kind of like boogers. You know what I'm saying? Your body is self-cleansing. Your vagina cleanses itself. Your ears cleanse themselves. Your eyes, they make eye boogers. Your mouth, it makes plaque. You get, the vagina, it's all self-cleansing. The scalp. So when you see the hair fall, don't panic. It's just part of the process, especially if you have long hair. And so talking about that comb, my dear friend Kofi Paisai is in the chat. Kofi, I have your wrong book on the banner, but I'm going to put it up anyway here. So this is Kofi's book. I have a little picture up here that he has. Kofi, can you drop your link in the chat? He just did a wonderful, wonderful book about Afro hairstyling. To help everybody understand all of the complexities and the cultural practices of what happens and what we've done to our hair throughout the ages coming out, of Mama Africa, just to help people just kind of calm down and understand that the varying transitions that our hair goes through as we age and as it grows longer. Hey guys, this stuff is very, very, very natural, and you have to watch out for people who are trying to capitalize on your fear. So Cheryl, speak to that. Yeah, finger detangling, that's not our stuff. Before we wrap it up, and we'll talk about the summit. But speak to that about you know just the whole understanding of this aging process and well, not the aging process, but people just trying to take advantage of what we are going through culturally, because let's just be honest, it's not like we all know how to do this. There's no baseline for every African American or person with textured hair to start from. So just kind of go through what's really happening with these companies who are taking advantage of all of these black folks who's really, really struggling with their hair, with this, all this advertising, and because we want to help you guys understand there's something bigger that's going on. It's not just you. It's not your hair.
Yeah. I mean, in especially what's happening in Florida and taking African American studies, you start worrying about and I'm pushing for state legislation to deal with Afro cosmetology as the multiracial and multiculturalism is entering into the collegiate and in high school and preschool and elementary school and things of that nature, getting to know each other, especially when it starts going into the commerce, because we're going to start doing each other's face and each other's eyeballs, and we're going to start doing each other's teeth and start doing each other's hair. And so as we learn what is the differences and the missing element, so like books like Kofi's is timely, and so let me just say this. One of the subjects that we didn't hit, and I'm going to brush over it right quick, is how whitening of the pigment cell starts, and how that is unfortunately connected to aging, and it necessarily isn't, because you can have 21-year-olds with graying, and and so one of the things that we will be talking about, yeah, here we go again. She's pretty white there. And that is in her DNA. And that was going to happen regardless if she got older or not. That is just a part of the
Excuse me, may I correct you? It's irregardless.
it was going to happen no matter what she was going to be dealing with. And so let me just say this. And she's Ladosha is a good example of how being, unfortunately white. And it is also ironic in this country that white would be synonymous with weakness, and black and dark is synonymous with vibrance. I mean, we just, this country is really weird, right? We have so many isms. But back on topic is that the fact that we don't know enough in terms of our profession to deal with the colloquialisms, wise tales, urban legends. We got that hurdle to get over. But I do think that at the summit, in which you will close with, that we can really have these 101s and 2-on-2s and small groups and these focus groups, and to talk about what actually is happening at birth to 13, and from 13 to about 35 when your hormones change again. And we can definitely differentiate that with gender. Men have the DHT issues. And so all of us are going, and we're constantly changing. And I think that then menopause, of course, is also a factor. And then as we get older, we do have health crises. The body becomes in crisis. And so we have the medications to deal with on top of that. And that all will be spoken about at the summit. And so in my closing, I hope I could enlighten that old hair and aging are not the same thing, but aging is a process that happens at the scalp. And so we can expand on that further.
All right. So Kofi stated in the chat that his book comes out March 30th. And the name of his book, sorry you guys can't see the title, it's called Africa's Hair, Before, During, and After Slavery. Because we want you guys to know, and the famous words of Anthony T. Browder, okay? And he says that if African history had a book, and let's just say this book was 1,000 pages, to Kofi's point about his book, slavery would only be 2 pages. And we hope that what you guys are learning from Cheryl and I is that the understanding of Afro hair is so vast, and the education of it is very, very important. And cosmetology, the license, the education, it gives us that baseline so that as we begin to get our continuing education, no school is going to prepare you for the whole thing. And this is why the 2023 Midwest Afro Hair Science Summit is vital and essential. This is not a trade show. I repeat, this is not a trade show. There will be no places to come and buy no more hair care products. You can't buy any curling irons, no, it's books, okay? You'll be able to buy books. You'll be able to bring in a piece of paper. You'll be able to get knowledge, and we need to recalibrate. We need to, like she said, all of us, we need to get on the same page. And I know in my heart that Cheryl Morrow is the person to help get us together. She's not the only person. So we are inviting more people who have this kind of intelligence and brilliance and pride to come and join us here in Cleveland, Ohio, as we work out the scheme of things when it comes to this Afro Hair Science Summit. But it is definitely going to happen, and we're doing this because Afro hair, there is a science, believe it or not. People aren't talking about it, but there is a science. The summit is for licensed barbers, licensed cosmetologists, and licensed hairstylists. Natural hairstylists. The reason that it can't be open to people who do not have that baseline education is because you won't be able to catch up and understand. We don't want to talk above people. And so this is not a push to get you to enroll or attend a barber college or a cosmetology school. We're just respecting the educational process that any school. I couldn't just go to medical school. I have to have my prerequisites. And so we have that, and the professional community, we need it, because I said this to someone who made a comment. They totally disagreed with education and regulation for natural hair. And their argument, to make a long story short, was just that, you could just go on YouTube and get it. So what I'm going to say this about YouTube in closing is that, yes, social media and YouTube will bring you to it, but I guarantee you it will not get you through it. You guys have got to get your education. I'm not even apologizing for it under any circumstances. So the summit is for licensed cosmetologists, licensed barbers, and licensed natural hairstylists. In the state of Ohio, we have a boutique license. You are under the instruction, the tutelage, of a licensed professional. At my salon, we do have the boutique license, and they have to be trained and educated. And so we're not apologizing. We're just encouraging you to get your education. And if you are a natural hairstylist and they're not offering you any Afro hair science, shame on them. No, I'm just kidding. No, but perhaps they're going to have something for your community as well. But this is for our community because the public is demanding it. And Cheryl, I know you said you're wrapping this up, but just speak to us at the end about why education helps us meet the demands that this career requires, because this career requires demands that only education can solve. This natural hair movement, coloring, like she said, all this is really helping the things that we're seeing, stuff that we don't see. This alopecia, we're not getting that covered in cosmetology school. We need advanced education. So talk about, wrap us up with how education helps us meet the demands of the work.
And in closing, that it is important for, it is not lost on cosmetologists or beauty professionals that our respect, our self respect, and our professional respect be respected. And we are not an industry that is comfortable. We are not comfortable with our level of treatment in the industrial way that other industries are respected. And we know that it is our responsibility to do it. And we know that that will galvanize us community respect, respect amongst our peers. And it's important that we are respected as an industry. But it is our ultimate responsibility to increase our scholar, increase and to keep up with the current trends, to keep up with the current conditions and disorders, to communicate with other health professionals and other parts of medicine and health and well-being and spirituality and all those things, in diet. And so we are saying, in terms of what this summit will make a precedent and a statement to each other, that we are holding each other accountable and also raising the bar within the industry standard for us to be on the cutting edge, the trendsetters of things that happen within our industry. And so we can also have a professional pride, a personal pride, and a community pride, and pride of our peers. And so we just need that time. And I can't wait. I'm excited. And I'm going to put my best forward to be able to give the most advanced, cutting edge, and current and futuristic information possible, so we can become and blaze the trail for the next 400. The next 400 is important to us.
Right. All right, guys. You guys rocked. They rocked it out with us. Remember, I said, you know what, you guys are not our followers. You are literally, I mean, you seriously, you guys are our partners. And we hope that you will spread the word and let the world know. We want people that they can fly in from all over the world. Like, you know what's happening? We want Ohio to kind of tilt that globe. You know what I'm saying? You know how they say, when the buffaloes, they move and glaciers melt. All of this helps, kind of tilt this globe a little bit. Let's tilt the globe in favor of education, like she said, respect, and raising the bar, because you are, as the public and our fellow licensed professionals, you guys are asking us, it's time to go to the next level. And the 2023 Midwest Afro Hair Science Educational Summit, where textures unite. This is not a black thing. This is for all licensed professionals. We don't care what color you are. Everyone will be welcome. We're looking to probably teach about 30 to 170 people. So this is going to be large. Cheryl's got a very large task before her, but she can do this. So you guys get ready. Follow us on social media. We're on TikTok. Of course, we're right here on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on LinkedIn, and of course, right here on YouTube. So we're going to be letting you guys know what's going on. Don't forget, if you haven't hit the thumbs up button, you guys have done a wonderful job at engaging. So I'm certain that this will put us in the algorithms, and more people will talk about it. But we need you guys to help share the content beyond tonight. We thank you so much. Next week, we're going to be back, and we're going to be talking about hair color. Okay, this is going to be very interesting because we got what's happening with the relaxers, but now we're going to take you guys on a journey about hair coloring because now they're saying, guess what? That ish causes cancer too. Oh man. I'm telling y'all, okay? So now we're going to get on to coloring and we're going to talk about what's happening with hair coloring. Is it good, bad, the ugly, all this stuff. So next week, if you're coloring your hair, you like my hair color, I get stopped all the time everywhere I go. People want to know, is it real? All this good stuff. So next week, we're going to be talking about hair coloring. And so we'll see you guys. Thank you so much. And Cheryl, you know what we say? We're always signing out, right?
Yes,
here we go, y'all. It's always about a whole lot of peace, a whole lot of love, and for sure a whole lot of hair, right? But check this out. If you ain't got no hair, don't want no hair, can't stand it, can't grow it, hell, you plan on cutting it off because you can, you got some bald patches because you got some issues, man, don't worry about that because all that's beautiful too, and so are you. Deuces will be back next week.